Medical parole, still in hospital at this stage, just speaking to his son just a few moments ago, indicating that the last time that he spoke to his father was okay, has always been okay, says Edward Zuma. But of course, he says they'll be speaking to the medical team as well to try and understand what his condition is. You know, of course, that the Department of Correctional Services basing their decision on a medical report which they have received. SABC News political editor Mzwandile Mbeje joins us now. Mzwa, I know you were speaking to Unati a bit earlier on, and you'd basically outlined some of the key aspects here. I mean, is this a surprise at all? I mean, when the former president was incarcerated at Escort, he had been confined to the hospital wing of the Escort correctional facility. So there were indications at the time already that he was not ill. That he was ill, I beg your pardon, that he was ill.
Yes. I think a very good afternoon to the viewers. It was very interesting from the word go, Griselda, as we said earlier. When he was admitted, he was confined to the medical wing, quite correctly, as you have said. So basically what that meant was that he was not well. In fact, a few weeks later, the military department issued a statement, the defense, to say there is a long-standing matter that needed to be attended to. You remember, after a few weeks in hospital, in jail, he had to then be moved to a hospital because the defense, remember, they are responsible for all the presidents and the former presidents. So they said, there was a long-standing matter that needed really to be addressed. So since then, he has been placed there. So it comes as no surprise that he has been released on medical parole. So then now it brings the question, Griselda, to what is going to happen to the upcoming trial of his in Pietermaritzburg.
Yes.
We know that on Tuesday, for example, the NPA, the defense, and of course the judge were to speak about that issue, obviously in camera, because the medical situation of somebody needs to be kept a secret. So,
Mzwai, in this instance, I know you're not a legal expert, but would this have any bearing, and we'll speak very shortly to an analyst on this, to perhaps get some clarity, would it have any bearing on the upcoming matter, for example, where perhaps, the medical team or his legal representatives could indicate that he's not of good health?
Oh, yes. Depending on the extent of the medical situation that he's faced. Let's perhaps say the medical indication says it's terminal, so which means it's something that can't be resolved. So clearly there is no possibility that you could be released from jail because your medical condition was not correct and be placed in another jail because you're facing another trial. So yes, the legal experts will have to unpack this for us, but from the reading of the whole situation, Griselda, clearly if the medical situation is such that there is nothing that can be done perhaps to cure it, you simply need to manage it, it will definitely have an impact on the future trial, the trial which is set to begin this month.
Mzwai, we'll come back to you very shortly. Let's just take some reaction from the political parties as well. Pieter Groenewald from the FF Plus joining me now. A very good evening to you, Mr. Groenewald. Thanks indeed for your time. Your reaction to the announcement that the former president, Jacob Zuma, will be placed on medical parole.
Good evening. Well, when Mr. Zuma went to the Escort correctional facility and started in the hospital, I have warned and said that we must ensure that we do not have a repetition of the Shabby Sheikh case, and that is exactly what is happening now. The process is the same, the time span is just very shorter, and I know the Commissioner of Correctional Services is acting within his legal powers and authority. But the problem is, this is undermining the criminal justice system in South Africa, and we should look into these powers of the Commissioner and amend legislation to ensure that he, as a Commissioner, cannot have that authority because we cannot allow the undermining of the criminal justice in South Africa, especially if we look at the crime rates in South Africa.
Some political parties are calling for Arthur Fraser to be hauled before Parliament together with the Minister Ronald Lamola. Is the FF Plus also behind that notion? Is that what should be calling for?
Yes, of course. They must come and they must explain. And as I said, I know what they're going to say. They're going to say, well, it is in the legal limits and the authority of the Commissioner. But again, I say, therefore, after they report it, I hope that the other political parties will also support the proposal from the Freedom Front Plus that there should be an amendment to the legislation.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Pieter Groenewald, the FF Plus.